Hey guys, I've got a little bit of a crazy project going on today. I'm going to see what I can do to keep this lawnmower serviceable. It's a 3.5 horsepower Craftsman, 20-inch cut, and it's ancient. I think it's like a 1991. The engine on the thing runs beautifully. It starts on the first pull even when it's cold, but it's structurally compromised, we'll put it that way. So what I am going to do is see if I can swap this engine onto this frame, which is completely solid. It's not rusted through anywhere or anything like that. The problem with this mower is that the engine doesn't run. From what the previous owner told me, the last time the engine did run, it caught on fire. Not the best thing to have happen to you, especially if you're like mowing right next to your house. This one is a 22-inch Murray, and it's got a, well, it had 3.75 horsepower, now it's got 0. So let's see what we can do here. First let's take a look at this one and why I need to see if I can do this little switcheroo. This has been a really good mower. As I said, the engine is still running strong after all these years, but the structure is starting to show its age. If you look down here, it has this rust, and you can actually see these cracks running through here. Those are fatigue cracks from the stress of supporting the entire mower here at this pivot right here when you change direction. And there's another fatigue crack right here, and if you know anything about fatigue cracks, once you get them, they just spread and spread, and they spread faster and faster. The big issue is over here, where the deck has rusted through, and originally the problem was just that I had stuff going into my face when I was mowing. So I patched the deck with these pieces of tin that I bolted and riveted together and put onto the deck, and it worked for a while. But after mowing the yard a few times, the debris flying off the blade eroded through this tin right here and made holes in it, and as you can see, that's now patched by pine cone. Classy! With the Murray, I'm going to start by draining the fluids, and there are only two of them. I mean, there's gas and oil, and let's see if I can get you a nice little view in there. I don't know if you can see those layers. Pretty layers of gas and water. Alright, pan under the tank. I'm also going to try to pull the discharge chute up. Oh, it's doing it. It's so cool. Come on. Still didn't work. Well, I guess I don't have to worry about it spilling out. I'll worry about it later. Okay, time to drain the oil. So what I'm going to do is push down on the handle and weigh it down with a couple of these concrete landscaping blocks so that I can get under the deck to the drain plug. Okay, so I'm underneath the deck, and there's the drain plug right there. And it's kind of a crazy plug if you're used to cars. Unlike a car, you need an extension, but no socket. The extension just goes right into the plug right there. It's a 3/8 drive. Alright, set it to loosen. Alright. Okay, got my drain pan under there. So pull the plug out. And there we go. I'm going to take those blocks off and let the thing sit flat on it so it can drain all of it out of the engine. Alright, so it's done draining. I've propped it back up just so I can slip that drain plug back in there. I'm not going to worry about it getting it too tight. I mean, the engine's probably junk anyway. I just don't want it spilling all over the place when I'm actually separating the thing from the deck. Just going to tighten it, I don't know, wrist tight. And there wasn't even enough oil in the thing to coat the bottom of the oil pan. So maybe that's one reason the engine quit working. Alright, now I gotta take the blade out. And you can get tools to jam the blade so you can get the nut in the middle out. I'm just gonna take a piece of wood and jam it in the middle like that. That should be enough. I've got a 9/16 socket already in the middle of the blade. And hopefully it'll come off without too much of a problem. Oh yeah, there we go. It's a nice surprise. This thing was so rusted up I thought I was going to have to break out the WD-40, but this is easy. Now for the throttle cable. There's this screw right here on the side of the flywheel housing. I'm just going to take that off. Now I've got to take the air cleaner box off because it's just above that cable where it needs to come out. Alright, got that out. Air cleaner box. Whoa. Wow. That is seriously degraded. I wonder if I can just pull the whole thing off. There we go. Alright, there's the cable right there. All I got to do is pull up and out. I'm going to go ahead and take off the eyelet for the pull starter as well while I'm at it. Got an 11mm deep socket on there. Go ahead and disconnect the cable first. I think I should just be able to pinch with some pliers and pull from this side, but I'm going to need both hands for that. Alright, back under there and just got to pull the motor bolts out. These bolts actually go all the way through and they're a little rusted, so I'm just going to give it a little blast of WD-40 on that one and that one and the other one, and then I'll just let it sit. Now the engine bolts. So there's one here, and one here. So I've got my socket. Let's go ahead and pull those out. Got the bolts out. I just remembered that there are a couple of zip ties here that need to be cut for the cables. So there's one and two, and let me wrap these cables and the rope around this thing and it should be ready to go. I've been looking around for a place to put the engine after I actually take it off of the mower, and I've decided that I'm probably going to need to put it off to the side either in the garage or outside. So what I'm going to do is take the oil, well, sludge that's in here that I drained out of the engine. I'm going to put it into my main drain pan. I'm going to clean it out with a towel, and that way I can just put the oil into this, and if I have to put it inside, it'll keep any nastiness that might come out of the engine afterward from getting on the floor. And if I have to put it outside, it'll keep that same nastiness from polluting the soil and getting into the groundwater and just doing all sorts of stuff that's bad for the environment. Alright, here we go. Wow, this thing weighs like nothing. They aren't kidding when they say small engines. Before I do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and clean it off. I'm just going to start by pulling this crap off with my hands. And then I'm going to spray it down with a degreaser. I'm going to use Purple Power. I love this stuff. It's great for removing oil and grease from pretty much anything. Clothes, or your driveway surface, or metal parts. Okay, it's been sitting for a couple minutes now, so I'm just going to spray it off. I'm going to put it on a stronger stream though. As you can see, Purple Power works really well. It's very potent. Another good thing about it is it's biodegradable, so it's better for the environment than other kinds of degreasers that you might find. Now there's one big difference between these two mowers that I can see straight away, and I actually saw before I even started doing the swap, but that is the crankshaft, the center of rotation is right here, and on the Craftsman, this one has a Tecumseh engine with the cylinder mounted behind the center line, and on the Murray, the Briggs and Stratton one on that was mounted ahead. So I don't know if I might have to flip this engine around. I'd like to not have to do that because it would save me the trouble of having to, take care of these cables right here. but I guess we'll find out. It looks like this starter here is designed to be mounted in either direction, so that's good if I have to do that. But fingers crossed, hopefully I won't have to flip it around at all. Alright, I just disconnected the pull starter from the handle up here. And now I'm going to disconnect the operator lever cable and squeeze the fingers on this connector. It should come right out, hopefully. Yep. Alright, I'm about to go under there to unbolt it. First thing I'm going to do, though, is spray a little WD-40 on 3 bolts that hold it to the mowing deck. I'm going to give it a lot, just to make sure. And then there's one more right there under the air cleaner. Let me get that focused. Alright. There we go. Now I'm going to go under it. There are bolts right there. Let me just get them a little cleaned off. I'm going to spray some WD-40 on the heads as well. Got one more hidden right there under all that grass and crud. Alright, the big moment. Let's see if it lines up. Oh, that hole lines up. So there's that one. Oh yeah! I don't have to turn this thing around. I can just use it in the same orientation. Let me get that sucker bolted up. I'm just going to start with one bolt, just to hold the thing in place. Once I've got it held in place, I can lift the whole thing up and put the rest of them in place. I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. There's a hole right there. I was hoping to be able to use the blade that was on the 22-inch Murray again when I put the Tecumseh engine onto it, but I'm not going to be able to, and there are 2 reasons for that. One, the blade for the Tecumseh engine has a couple extra holes in it, and 2, this one here is all nicked and got a bunch of dings in the edge, and it's just rusted to crap, so that's pretty much trash. Alright, so I put the 20-inch blade back into it. I mean, I know it works. It bolts right up to the engine. The deck's a little wider, but so what? This thing's really just going to be used for touch-up work anyway. You know, if my dad wants to spend a little money on a new blade, I'll put it on there for him. But yeah, this thing's just a touch-up mower, so it's not a big deal. The next thing is to hook up the cables, so here we go. So now I get a cherry pick hardware. The operator cable, I'm just going to use the one that's already on here. I mean, it works, it's in the right place. It even has the same bracket to attach to the lever as the other engine. So what I'm going to do is spray a little bit of WD-40 down the cable sheath. Work it back and forth a little bit just to get it down in there. You know, it's been sitting outside. Let's just make sure it works right. Then I'll hook it up. Alright, so I've got the pull starter connected, got the cutoff cable connected, and that's pretty much it. The only thing I really have to worry about now is that wheel, which is obviously broken. This is going to be really easy. Just pull out this clip right here, slide the wheel off. Don't park your mower in a bad part of town. Just kidding. So now the big question, does it work?